Hola y buenos días. Yo soy el señor Morris. ¿Cómo están ustedes? As you can see, hoy estoy en el pueblo con mis amigos. Están jugando en el patio de recreo. They're over there playing. Today, we're going to go over the calendar and review what we've been doing, and then start to learn about following directions on a map. Pero primero vamos a cantar nuestra canción de saludos. Canten conmigo. Hola, hola, buenos días, bienvenidos, ¿cómo están? Todos juntos ya estamos listos para aprender. Muy bien cantado. Well, I tell you what, let's begin by looking at the calendar and answering some of the questions that we've gone over before. The first question that I'd like to ask you is, ¿cuál es la fecha de hoy? ¿Cuál es la fecha de hoy? Now, we have a calendar here, and let's see. You've heard this question. Let's say, for example, that today we're a Wednesday, miércoles. Okay, let's say it is the 7th here of March. You could answer this question by saying, hoy es 7 de marzo. That'd be the easiest way. Hoy es 7 de marzo. But then I might also ask you, ¿qué día es hoy? ¿Qué día es hoy? And if you look at here, you can look up to the top of the calendar, and you'll see there, and you'd answer, hoy es miércoles. Miércoles. Now, another useful thing that I might ask you is, ¿en qué mes estamos? ¿En qué mes estamos? And you can look up here to the top of the calendar to find out, and you'd answer, estamos en marzo. Estamos en marzo. Now, another question that I might ask you, and I think I've asked this one before, ¿cuáles son los meses del año? Well, we know marzo, pero ¿cuáles son los meses del año? Most of the months are cognates, and that makes them pretty easy. Let's look at them again right now. The first month of the year, this is the most confusing one for me, I think. The first month of the year is enero, repitan, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, and can you guys guess the last month of the year? Diciembre. Muy bien. Well, I tell you what, now let's sing the song to help us remember the months. It goes like this. Enero, febrero, marzo y abril, mayo y junio y julio también, agosto, septiembre, octubre ya llegó, noviembre, diciembre, diciembre, el año ya acabó. Now remember, I'd like for all of you to continue practicing the calendar activity every day in your classroom. That's right. Now, last class, we talked about 2 words that you could use to describe the area where you live. Do you remember those words? I'm going to get them ready here to give you a hint. Do you remember? We talked about rural, and this we said is exactly the same as English, rural, only you say rural, y urbano, urbano, which is urban. Okay, that's right. I'm going to show you a picture to show you what I mean. The first one that I'd like to show you is this one. Esta es una área rural. Es rural. Rural. And that means it's out away from the town. It's out away from the city. So if that's rural, who thinks that they remember what urbano is? Who thinks they remember? Let's take a look at it. Este es urbano. Urbano, urban, which means in the city, where there are a lot of buildings around and things. Okay? Very good. Well, you seem to be getting that down very well. Ahora, vamos a continuar. Okay. Vamos a ver un mapa. Mapa. Do you know that word? This word is a cognate. Does anybody think they can guess what a mapa is? Do you think you can guess? Try to figure it out. Well, I tell you what. ¿Cómo se dice mapa en inglés? If you said map, you were right. Mapa is a map. Now, if you want to find something in a town or city, sometimes it's helpful to have a map, mapa, to follow. Let's look at one right now. Este es un mapa de una ciudad. Okay? And you see they have different street names, and I've even labeled the buildings on mine. Now, you guys will have this map in your student resource notebooks, and also teachers, you have these in your teacher's guides. Now, before we start, I'd like to show you a couple of words, okay? And these words have to do with directions. The first one is izquierda. Izquierda. Okay. Izquierda. Repitan. Okay. Now, I write with this hand. Okay. So this hand is my izquierda. Izquierda. Can everybody figure out izquierda? Go ahead and raise your izquierda. La mano izquierda. Can you do that? Okay. That's izquierda. The other word that I want to show you is derecha. Repitan todos. Derecha. Okay. Izquierda. Derecha. And I'm turning around because if I raise my hand and I'm looking at you, it'll be the opposite. Derecha. Alcen todos la mano derecha. Derecha, izquierda. Okay? And that information, those two directions, will help you a lot in being able to follow directions that someone gives you. Let's go ahead and look at some directions right now on a map. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and follow some directions, and just to help you follow along, you guys can follow on your maps. I'm going to show you here with my spaceship. That's right, my spaceship is going to follow my directions for me. Okay, let's see. Empieza en la estación de bomberos. So let's find that. ¿Dónde está la estación de bomberos? Here it is. Now here's where the street is, so I'm going to face it out this way. Empieza en la estación de bomberos. Dobla a la derecha. And remember, here's derecha, izquierda. This says dobla a la derecha. Okay? Then it says, y sigue hasta la segunda esquina. Primera esquina, segunda esquina. Primera esquina, segunda esquina. Okay? And then it says, dobla a la derecha. Now remember, here's the head, so la izquierda y la derecha, dobla a la derecha. Here we are. And then the question is, ¿qué servicio comunitario está a la izquierda? ¿Qué servicio comunitario está a la izquierda? Let me see. Here it is. ¿Qué servicio es? Es la escuela. Es la escuela. Now, there were some words in there that you probably haven't heard before, at least not in Spanish, huh? Let's go over them right now. Now, you may want to write these down to refer to later. If you keep a notebook of Spanish words, you can go ahead and take that out and write these words in them now. Okay? The first word was empieza. Empieza. Go ahead and write that down. And this comes from the verb empezar. And I said, empieza en la estación de bomberos. Empieza means to start. Start in the fire station. Empieza. And then I said, sigue. Sigue. Okay? I said, sigue hasta la segunda esquina. Sigue means to keep going. Okay? Sigue. Go ahead and get that one. Another word that I used was a. And a can have a lot of different meanings in Spanish from what it does in English. In this case, it means to. So I said, dobla a la derecha o a la izquierda. A la derecha, a la izquierda. So it just means to. Okay, another word that I used was esquina. Esquina. And I said, sigue hasta la segunda esquina. An esquina is a corner. That's right, a corner. So when you come to an intersection, you've got una esquina. And another word that you might have heard was cuadra. Cuadra. And a cuadra is like a block, like a city block. Una cuadra. Go ahead and get those jotted down. Okay. Well, I tell you what, let's try another one together right now. And I'd like you to use the activity sheet from your student resource notebook or the one that your teacher has in the teacher's guide so that you can follow along with me now. And I'd like you to remember that you don't have to understand each and every word that I'm saying. Let's go ahead and look at the map right now. Okay, I'm going to get my flying saucer, my spaceship out here again, and we're going to start with this. Empieza en la oficina de correos. So let's find the oficina de correos. Here it is down here. I'm going to put my nose flying out in that direction. La oficina de correos. Now, the first instruction says, dobla a la derecha. And you remember that this is always going to be la derecha. Here's the head, so la derecha. Dobla a la derecha. And then the instructions tell us, sigue hasta la primera esquina. Aquí está la primera esquina, right here. Sigue hasta la primera esquina y dobla a la derecha. Aquí está la derecha, dobla a la derecha. Okay, you all following along? Sigue hasta la primera esquina. Aquí está la primera esquina y dobla a la izquierda. Dobla a la izquierda. Aquí está la izquierda. Now the question is, ¿qué servicio comunitario está a la derecha? Here's the derecha. ¿Qué servicio comunitario está a la derecha? Pull this back so that you can see it. You should have that on your activity sheets. Es la biblioteca. La biblioteca. Muy bien. Let's do one more, okay? Let's see. How about empieza en la farmacia? Can you find la farmacia? Okay, here it is. And I'm going to put the front of my spaceship pointing towards the street. Empieza en la farmacia. Dobla a la izquierda. Dobla a la izquierda. Derecha, izquierda. Dobla a la izquierda. Sigue hasta la primera esquina. Aquí está la primera esquina, because I'm starting here. Aquí está la primera esquina. Okay. Y dobla a la izquierda. Okay. Derecha, izquierda. Dobla a la izquierda. Y'all following along with me here? Now, sigue hasta la segunda esquina. Primera esquina, segunda esquina. Sigue hasta la segunda esquina y dobla a la derecha. Derecha, izquierda. Dobla a la derecha. ¿Qué servicio comunitario está a la izquierda? La derecha, la izquierda. ¿Qué servicio comunitario está a la izquierda? Can you guys see that on your maps right there? Es el hospital. Es el hospital. Muy bien. Well, some of you are doing really well at this. And let me tell you, this is a challenging activity. You can continue to go over the activity sheet together in class. Okay? Your teacher has some instructions in the Learning Partner Guidelines in the teacher's guides. So you can use those if you'd like to, okay, to help you go over the vocabulary that we've been talking about today. Now, I've also included an activity sheet for today called El Código Secreto Número 1 to help you go over some of these things. And I'd like you to go ahead and have a look at it right now. It's in your activity sheet. It's in your student resource notebook. Go ahead and put your name up at the top. Roberto, soy yo. Now the directions say, use the key to decipher the vocabulary words from today's lesson. Well, tell you what. Let's see if we can do one of these. I don't want to do a real long one. Let me see. How about this one here? Okay. I can look for the down arrow and see that that says there, and the star, or the diamond shape is O. This arrow going up, kind of towards the northeast, huh? B. The circle, hollow circle is L. And the arrow pointing up is A. Oops. Oh, good thing I have a pencil today. Do. Dobla. Dobla. Remember I used to say dobla a la izquierda. Okay. In English, the word is, let's see, what is this one? I see that up here. That's T. Hollow arrow pointing up is U. Triangle, hollow triangle pointing to the right is going to be R. And the full square is N. So in Spanish, it is dobla. And in English, it is turn. So if you go over today's activity sheet, that'll give you almost all of the vocabulary that we were talking about and using in giving directions, okay? You might want to keep going over those in your classroom. Muy bien. Next class, we'll start to look at the cardinal directions in Spanish. I said northeast, well, we're going to look at those. Pero saben que ya es hora de despedirnos. For a goodbye song today, I'd like to sing Las Mañanitas. And remember, this is the birthday song for all of you guys who are going to or just have had a birthday. Canten conmigo. Estas son las mañanitas que cantaba Rey David, pero no eran tan bonitas como las cantan aquí. Despierta, mi bien, despierta, mira que ya amaneció, ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió. Muy bien. Keep practicing this Spanish stuff. It's kind of tough, but I'm sure you guys will get it. Until our next class, adiós y hasta luego.